All right, perfect. So then when the team leader logs in, on the day of the move, you'll see all the jobs that he's assigned to. And then you click it, he can see what truck and his crew that's dispatched. Um, he can also see the notes. If there's any notes left, he can read them. And then once they leave the warehouse, he can click Start Job. It will ask him to confirm that he's on the right truck and the man that is with him. If he clicks no, it will tell him talk to dispatch, so you guys can go into the app and change it. So for example, if I click no, it says call the office. Oh, we can change that, but to any number you want. But it basically doesn't let the team leader make these changes, but you guys can change it through the app, and then it will refresh on his side. So let's confirm that this is my truck. I'm gonna say, okay, you're driving to the pickup. If he clicks on the address, it will get here. It will send me to Google Maps, but on his phone, it will basically let him do a GPS and start driving. So once they get to the client's house, they click here that they arrived, asking to confirm that this is the crew that's going to do the job. And then the team leader will get this screen to verify a few things before they start to move. So first, he can do a walkthrough and then figure out what the not to exceed for the day should be. So let's say 2,500. He needs to select what type of move it is, if it's household goods or office move. By default, it's always moving services, but if there's other services that we're doing that day, we can add it. If we're doing packing, say packing and unpacking. Once I click add, it will add it, and then unpacking. If there's any conditions that they want to note on the paperwork, they can click here and write something, like if there's an existing damage or something that has to be, that's important enough that they want to put it on the paperwork, they can click it, they can fit it up here and it will show up on the paperwork. And then they have to tell at what time they're starting the job. So I can either click now to put right the right now, or I can manually enter something. So let's say you're starting at 3:20, and then stop me if you guys have any questions. Stop me. If not, I'm just gonna continue. Um, then once this is done, they click next. And this is the time the client in the morning. This is basically like in the morning, we're starting the job. The client has to get the paperwork signed. So this is the point where they'll hand the device to the client. Click next. And this is basically um, the pages that the client would see.
Hey, Lior, got a quick question before you move on.
Yeah,
Once you hit start, like start now, can you go back to the other page? For example, say if you find like some damaged furniture, can you go back and edit that page or no?
you can go back until the client signs the paperwork. Once the client signs the paperwork, if you go back, it will give you a warning because that means that we'll have to redo the paperwork.
Got it.
So all the information we started is the information that needed to fill up the important notice about your move. Once the client signs it, um, if you go back and change it, then basically you're changing something after the client signs, which is not something you're supposed to do. So if you go back and you do that, that means that the paperwork is voided, and we'll have to re-sign the paperwork.
Okay.
All right. So client signs here. He will see a bunch of questions to make sure that the information is correct. So it will ask him to verify their name. If they're saying no, they'll say talk to the team leader. The team leader has to talk to the office to change the information in Doc2Mover so it will sync over. Um, Click yes. Um, in case someone else needs to be added to the paperwork, the wife or whatever, they can click yes, but usually it's no. And you can see with the colors, like we're trying to steer them to what they need to click. So the green buttons are the answers we expect them to click on. Um, it will ask you to verify the best phone number. That's the phone number I had in Doc2Mover that got synced over. It will ask me to verify the email address because the paperwork would be sent to that email address. And then making sure that the addresses are correct. And then if they want someone else to sign on delivery, I'm going to click no. Do we need to notify someone else? I'm going to click no. All right. So now after I answered all these questions, we're ready to generate the paperwork. Going to click next. This is the important notice about your move. So you can see I got the not to exceed in here. I got the services I entered, so moving, packing, unpacking. And then the team leader signature is already here. And then as the client, I tap here to sign. I can sign. Then I click complete document. So I'm finished with the important notice. Now I have to sign the agreement for moving services. So this is already pre-filled with the information based on the answers the client did. So I declined to add another person for the notification. I got the addresses here. Moving services is here already. Hourly rate, 3 men in a truck. Got the 1 hour minimum, 4 hour minimum for the whole job. And then they can either scroll or swipe with a finger, or they can click here on the arrows to jump. If they want to skip to where they have to sign without reading, they can do that. So if I click next, it will get me to where I need to sign. I need to initial that I got the booklet. I'll put my initial. Here's the 2 questions I have to answer. They choose the way. Say yes. Another signature. All right. And then this is where the initial for the valuation option. So the option that's available to them is 60 cents per pound, and they can initial. If they click anything else, they'll get a message that says, hey, talk to the team leader, and then you can get dispatch involved, and you can guys talk to them about their insurance options. But as long as they want the 60 cents per pound, they can do that. If they insist that they want anything else, there's like a code, I don't remember it, but there's like a code we can give the team leader so he can open it, and then they can initial one of the other options. But usually, this will steer them into the 60 cents per pound. So I did that. Need to check box the box for 60 cents per pound and sign again. That's all the damage and liability, and one signature. This is done. I'm going to click complete, start your move. I'm going to click here. You'll get this message, and it's going to say, please hand the device back to the team leader. And then team leader can take over and they can start the job. So it's going to ask the team leader what are they doing right now. So let's say packing, and we said that the job started at 3:20. So basically, I'm packing since 3:20. I'm going to click select, and this is how it looks like during the job. So we can see that he can see that according to the app, they're packing since 3:20, and you can leave it like that. Now, if let's sign out for a second, and let me log in back to the dispatcher screen. I can see the status of the job here. So you can see that it changed from dispatch to packing since 3:20. So you can always refresh the screen and you'll see what's the status of the job according to the app on the team leader screen. So I could see that they started to drive at 3:02. They arrived at 3:02. Client signed the paperwork at 3:08. At 3:11, I'm sorry, and then they started packing at 3:20. So far, we good? Any questions?
No, looks good.
No.
Will it also give you an option for a flat price, or that will just we'll write the flat price on the not to exceed?
Yeah. So if before the job starts, you on the settings of the job you put that it's a flat price, you can put the not to exceed, and then it will be a flat price.
Got it.
All right. So let's say I'm done with the packing. I want to switch to loading. I can say, okay, I'm done with the packing. Let's say by for 45s. Now we're
Oh,
loading in.
one more question, New York.
Yeah.
Say for example, the team leader fills out the paperwork, and he puts it's a based on actual hourly rate, and he fills up the not to exceed. Client signs the paperwork, but then the job turned out to be a lot more, than the not to exceed. What do we do in that case?
What you're supposed to do in that case is fill up a change of order, and then you can put in the app the amount on the change of order and change the not to exceed. But there should be a good reason. Like if we let's say the job took a lot longer because we made a mistake. If this ever be challenged, then it will be harder to explain. Like if the client added more services or something that we didn't know of in the morning, that's one thing. But usually we should be able in the morning to know what will be the maximum amount.
Yeah. Okay.
And also, as long as it's less than not to exceed, you should be okay. So if let's say they can always add a little cushion. So if they think it should be around $2,000, they can do like 2,500 just to be safe. They can also, if they're not sure, they can call you guys and talk you through it, and then you guys can help them get to the right amount. But again, I mean, we're talking about this is like a regular not to exceed over the phone. I'm not sure how many of those you guys do. At least in LA, most of the jobs have an estimate. So usually it's a flat price or not to exceed already entered by the estimator.
Yeah. Yeah. Same here.
All right. And also, like if they taking a break, I can click next and say, hey, we're taking a break. So what was it? That's where we stopped. 4:45. So let's say I'm taking a break around 5:03. Break, and let's say we're back to loading at 5:34. And then let's say we're done with the loading, and now we're going to drive to the delivery. So I'm changing it to driving. Let's say around 6:05. It will ask you where you want to drive. Obviously, here we only have a pickup and a delivery, so my only option is to drive to the delivery. And click start driving. Will give me the address for the delivery, and again, if I click it, I'll get the GPS. And once we arrived, I can say, okay, now we're unloading. Let's call it 7:42. And so we're unloading. What was it? 7:42. So it's a unpacking 8:57. Okay, so let's say we finish unpacking. I want to close my day. So this one shows close up job, and let's say we finished around 10:35.
What's the one
Actually,
above close out job?
hold on.
That one.
This one.
Yeah.
This is in case I have to take a time out for something else that's not a break. I don't know, the truck, like they got into an accident, truck broke down
Oh,
or whatever.
gotcha.
But before I do that, before we close the job, let's do this. So I can, here at the bottom, I'll have a few tabs. So I can go into materials, for example, and I can always add materials during the job. So let's say I used a few boxes. Click save. All right, so I added a few boxes. I can go to charges too, click edit, and let's say I need to add some extra charge to this. Let's say we need a hosting, and say I don't want to add too much money, but let's say $50. Say, and I can always go here to time and see kind of like the ruler with the time. So I started the job at 3:20, packed for an hour 25 minutes, loading for another 18. Then I went on a break, loading for another 31 minutes. Got the drive time, unloading, and and unpacking since 8:57. So I can always look here. I can edit in case I want to change something. If I made a mistake, I can play around and click edit and change it. So all right. So let's say we're done. I want to close out the paperwork. Then I'm going to click next tab, close our job, and let's say I finished around 10:03. I'm going to click change task. All right, so the first thing is it's going to show the totals for the team leader so they can review before they give it to the client. So they'll see the breakdown of the hours and the totals. So we worked for 7 hours, 49 minutes. And then based on max floor tariff, we're rounding it off to the closest 15 minutes mark. So it's 7:45. Minimum hours were 4, but we're past that, so we're good. Total labor is this, and if I click here on the drop down, I can see the breakdown. So I had 3 hours 14 because we're doing double drive time, and I can see the breakdown of the hours 7:45, and then regular hours 7:45. We didn't go over 8 hours because there's no double. If I entered a few more hours, then the calculation would do the overtime. And then if I'm happy with the hours, I can click finalize timesheet. And then it will show the material used and the total for the materials. If it's fine, they click finalize. If they want to change something, they can click edit and add more materials if needed. If everything is good, I can click finalize material. And then they'll see the total charges. So I see the total for the labor, material. Here's the $50 I added for the shuttle. My total is 1671, not to exceed. And then this is where I was saying about the change of order. If for any reason I open a change of order, the form for the change of order is still on paper. We didn't add it to the app yet, but if you fill it out, you can write the extra charges here on the change of order, and that will update the price. Any questions before I move to the?
Will will it pick up deposit? So let's say on this job in Dr. Mover, you had a $200 deposit that was already paid. Would that pick it up here?
Yes. If there was a deposit already made, then it will show up here.
Okay, that's good.
Same thing where the screen will look a little different if it's a multi-day job. But yeah, if on a multi-day job, if there was a payment done on the first day, then it will take that into consideration too.
So can we manually add the deposit? Sometimes, say for example, if they send a request to take a deposit on a Sunday, and the deposit is collected on Monday morning, but the team has already left and it was not input in Dr. Mover, can we manually add it? Can the team leader manually add
Um,
it there?
I I think so, as long as it's not after they're closing the job. Like once I get to this screen, I can't manually edit in the app. I have to edit in Dr. Mover and let it sync over.
Okay.
But let me ask you for example, when you guys take deposit, who takes the deposit? Like if you said like on a Sunday, like who would be the one that takes the deposit?
Well, usually the accounting team takes his deposits, but I don't think they work Saturdays and Sundays, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's correct.
So what would be the scenario? Like they'll take the deposit Monday morning
Or
before
for
the.
Saturday and Sunday, and I feel like the dispatcher should take the deposits.
Okay, all right, yeah. So if someone in dispatch checks the deposit, you can. If I go back to Dr. Mover for a second, you can always add it here that you took a deposit for. So let's say if I took a $50 deposit, then it will show up here, and then you can just put the details like, oh, I took it by card, and they can fill out the rest of the information after. Or even if you leave it on none, so it will let you save, but you change that to pay that you took the deposit, and you can leave a note here that that they'll fill out the information later. But as long as you do that, it should think over see. Let's see if I go. Let's see if I'm going to add some hours. I want to see if I can show you how the overtime. Okay, 8:49 for now. Yeah, so now I got overtime, so it calculates an overtime rate. And let's see if it's got synced over. Not yet. Let's see if I can refresh. All right, so yeah. But so the deposit has to be done before we get to this screen. I think it's going to take a few minutes for it to refresh.
Where it says at discount, I'm assuming is that going to be for when we offer clients like a 5% discount for repeated client, or is that for something else?
Sorry, say again?
Where it says at discount, will that
Yeah.
be for when the booking person offers a 5% discount for a repeated client, or is that for something else?
For any type, you can for
So,
any type of discount. So let's say I need to add a discount on the whole move, or if we given some discount on materials, I can either do a percentage or flat rate. So let's say if I gave 25% discount on material, and I can also add the flat rate. Let's say I'm going to give a $50 discount,
Okay.
just flat on the move. Or let's say let's say I give them a discount on that shuttle, on that hoisting that I did. All right. So if I'm okay with my total, so if the team leader is okay with the charges, then they'll click finalize charges. It will ask them if there's any notations that they have to do on the paperwork. Um, so usually it's no, but let's say there's something that they want to notate that the client would sign, like you said, if there was any existing damage or something that needs to be done that the client won't say that we did a damage or something like that, we can always notate it here. So up to that point, we need to hand the device back to the client. Client will go next. They can review the charges. So let's see. Again, there's like some information, 3-man job, 179 per hour. Who is the crew? They can see the breakdown. So that's like the ruler. So they can see all the computations of how we got to that total of 845. Calculations of the hours and the labor charges. Material is the $50 for the hoisting. They choose 60 cents per pound. Here's the summary. They can see the discount total for the day. There was no estimate, so there's an A. No change of order. Not to exceed was 25. And then discount that I did total. And then if they're okay with it, they can click here to sign. sign, complete the document. Then we're done with that. Next step is to collect the payment. At this point, we're going to hand the device back to the team leader. And as of now, we don't have the ability to collect payment through the app yet. So it's just going to ask the team leader how much they collected, and they can switch over to whatever app you guys use to collect the credit card charge, and then they can go here and just say how much they collected. And then click next. And then the job is done. If I'll refresh, it will show the job complete. And then if I sign out, let's sign in as a dispatcher. You can see job is completed at 3:31. If I click, I can see all the status, like all the steps that happened during the day. And then let me switch to my email. So this is internal. So we're getting a copy of the paperwork to our Gmail too. So you can see the paperwork from the morning and the one from the end of the job. And it's the same. It's the same. It's the same email that the client would get. So they get that.
So the SMU group can get this email, like this paperwork.
Yeah. It
Okay.
goes to we open a group on the Google Workspace. So yeah, you just tell me who needs to get it, and we'll add them to the group, and they'll get copies.
Got it. Because that way
This is
accounting
the
doesn't need
paperwork.
to ask anybody.
Yeah,
They'll
exactly.
have a copy of
Exactly.
it.
Exactly. So this is the paperwork that the client signed in the morning. Take your sister pound. Raise them in. It's kind of faded, but you can see the signatures here and here. And then the one at the end of the day. Um, that's pretty much it. If you guys want, we can do another demo if you want to see like a flat job, but it's very similar. Just instead of having the breakdown of the hours, the team leader will still go through the task. So this way, the app can update the dispatch screen and show what's the status of the job. But when it gets to the end with the calculations, it will just charge the flat amount without the breakdown of everything.